Good peoples. What up, what up? Welcome back to the Dominant DNA podcast. Jay-Z said it best. You could have been anywhere in the world, but you here with us. I want to salute my man, the producer of the show, the guy that makes this shit happen, E-Man, the Great, and back again. And I appreciate that. Y'all Quill Ishway. A great person that I've known for more than half my life. And she's going to tell you some real shit. Without this show, that's all I can say. What's going on?
Not a thing. How are you today?
I say I'm blessed and busy. How you doing?
I'm good. I'm good.
Well, yeah. Thank you for coming through again.
Thank you for having me again.
Yeah. So what's going on as far as things that what's the most important thing that you think black women need to know right now?
Some of the few things that are coming to mind at this moment is just stay true to yourself, exhibit self-love, self-worth, self-value, know the definitions of those, walk in your purpose, and just make life successful. Any goal you have can be achieved. Um, Go get it. Go get it. Not going to be easy, but the fight is worth it.
And that's not no podcast bullshit. That's what she live. You know what I mean? Um, as far as achieving goals, certain things we might not be able to say on the podcast right now, but as far as what the fans can know about right now for business purposes, you know, where did you start and what goals have you achieved?
Pretty much just started as, a single mother, like many, African American women in the community. Um, but I do and did have a great support system in that journey. Um, Decided I wanted to do something more, help community, help people, help myself, help my family, my friends, my extended family, strangers. So I started pursuing rather my higher education. Um, by God's grace, I have a bachelor's, a master's, working on a second master's. I'll be finished this master's December
Can we
of
toast
this
to that?
year. We can, thank you. And then, last but not least, pursuing my doctoral degree next year. So, um, I just feel like as a community, we need to come together more. We need to make sure we have the resources that's necessary. Um, and everybody can benefit from it. It doesn't have to be everybody's dream, everybody's goal, but wherever our individual strengths are, then we need to maximize on those so that collaboratively everyone can succeed and benefit from it.
I want to bring up something that you said, and I told you it was brilliant when you talked about like what people see as a reality, and it's not word for word. I'm gonna let you do it. You know what I mean?
Oh, I remember.
No, I know you will because it was so it came naturally. You know what I mean? We was just having the conversation, and you just said it, and I was like, wow, like yeah, you absolutely right. As far as like whatever a person sees is their reality. It starts from childhood. Whatever they see is their reality, and whatever you see as reality is pretty much what you're gonna base your life on, at least for a while. Something along those lines. You remember that?
So I don't, but I can roll with it. I do feel like what an individual sees as his or her reality will be how they live life, um, and sometimes even for generations. Um, but what I am now learning, and we didn't have this conversation, but what I'm now learning is that everything that once was your reality will not always be your reality. Once you learn different, once you learn more, and sometimes once you learn better, then I feel it's a personal obligation to do just that: better, more, different. Um, because things are not always what they seem, and all of us come with a story. All of us have had highs and lows. And you pretty much have to turn those negative, I guess, aspects into something positive always. You can't be defeated. You just can't. You can't be defeated. I've had my share, but I just refuse to be defeated.
Can I make a confession?
Sure.
That's the truth. And you would be a great pastor, in my opinion. Like you could really like, and another reason why I'm gonna say this, right, is because you always, like, as a person, as a friend, this is really who you are. Like you want to see people do better.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Always. Always. Because the theory to that is when one does better, well, at least let me say my theory.
Right.
When one does better, then that helps the next one, and then the next one helps the next one, and then we're all helped. Once again, just collaboration, building partnerships, building networks, building communities. And for so long, I feel like as a people, we don't always exhibit those characteristics. But I think now we are starting to learn, and I feel like we still have a long way to go, but we have to work together. We have to work together. We have to support each other. We have to help one another. Even if we don't agree
Yes.
with the next person's vision, mission, or goals, even objectives. But you have to support one another to help each woman and man reach their destination. Children, young adults, senior citizens, or should I say the elderly, to make it more respectful. My apologies. But just, it takes everybody. It takes the village, and that saying has been around forever. I truly do believe that it takes a village.
So I feel like the first step towards that is, and we talked about this. Um, I feel like it needs to be a real effort, right, for black men and black women to um I don't not like a march, you know what I mean? But really just come to an agreement that a lot of differences that we've all had with each other, we need to just let that shit go and get over our generation and do it for our kids, because that's gonna, if you restore the family structure, that's gonna restore the community structure, and then from that, that's going to make a nation, at least a world.
I can definitely agree with that. But I will say I don't feel like it just starts and stops with African American men and women. I think it's everybody, Although culturally, the family units are designed differently a lot of times than for African Americans. I will say that. Um, Specifically, being an African American woman, I totally agree with you, because I feel like our family structures pretty much were being minimized for years, for centuries. Um, for reasons that are evident just in the world today. But we have the strength, we have the power. Hopefully, we're gaining the knowledge, if we don't already have it, to take that back. The family unit is one of the strongest units that probably a human will ever, I guess, be a part of in society. And a lot of times I feel like when you don't have that family unit, then, a lot of people tend to get lost in their journeys. So you got to have the support. It doesn't always mean it has to be a blood family unit.
Right.
It could be an extended family unit. It could be your closest friends. It could be your coworkers. It could be church members. It could be whomever you choose to be a part of your family unit. So be it. But we have to get better at the family unit, because in the end, in my opinion, only the children really suffer when a family unit is dysfunctional and torn and separated. And I think as a parent, as I am and you are, it's not about us. It's about our babies. Yeah. And then it becomes about their babies and their babies. So once again, generations of what? What are we teaching? What are we showing? What do we need to correct? And we need to break the, if you will, generational curses of all the things that really are not in our family unit's favor. Yeah. We got to think differently. We got to start doing things differently. It's not about us as parents.
Right.
Right. Whether we are together in a relationship or not.
Right.
We need to be adults.
God damn. Can we toast that? I'm glad you said that. And I try to tell young brothers this, right? Regardless of how dysfunctional your relationship, however y'all deal with each other, your encounters with your kids' moms are, right? When you get to a point where all of how you feel about whatever happened between y'all, and you can totally put that shit like over here, right? For the sake of your kid, eventually y'all can become cordial. And that's a blessing. Absolutely. That's a blessing. So if I can do that, right? With mine, you can do that with yours. It just takes it take time. You know what I mean? But when you put your kid first, fuck everything that y'all, you see what I'm saying? Because this person, you see what I'm saying? When you get there, it's a real blessing. It's a real blessing. I'm thankful for that.
And that's good. And I'm also happy for you and where you are now as far as certain family units that you've had and have. I think a critical component to that is each individual, each parent being accountable for their own actions and the parts that they play within the family unit. I think it gets a little deep for some people as far as your roles within the family unit. Granted, very independent myself, very strong-willed. But I realized,
I'm sorry.
But I realized the importance of the role that men are supposed to play in the family unit, women are supposed to play in the family unit, and how those roles, if they are not, I guess, played out properly, will affect one another. That's not to say, like back in the day, the women's supposed to stay home and cook and clean and take care of the family and take care of the children and, do all the household chores and stuff like that. But at the end of the day, if that works for a modern day woman today in 2021, so be it. Do your thing. It doesn't necessarily mean, although, the man is supposed to head his household and, provide and be the protector and all those things, that's great. I do feel like he should be in modern day, but at the same time, the woman can go to work as well and support her husband, because my thing always is, for me, if my partner loses income, becomes ill, just have an accident, who gonna hold us down if I'm not capable of doing it? You know what I mean? So you need to learn. Even if you choose to be a homemaker, you need to know how to have a trade, a craft, or something to bring some money in there to assist. I feel like it, family units become burdensome unnecessarily. If you keep it simple and you work together and you communicate, it can work. It can work. But I do feel like everybody have to kind of know their role. You know what I mean? You can't have a man who is a man. He is a provider. He is, a leader. He is the head of his household. And as a woman, we're trying to dominate the man. You gotta learn to walk in your submission. And this is also a recent conversation. I just say you have to learn to walk into that, but you also have to display submission. You can't constantly just be combative because you feel like you can. And that's whether or not you make more money or you don't. But I would say for the men, you can't be intimidated by your partner as well. Your whomever your partner is, woman, whomever, because they do make more money than you. At the end of the day, if y'all have that bond in that relationship, understand anything she benefits from should benefit you and the family as a whole. As a whole. So it's not even about giving up your dominance as a man, in my opinion. It's being a team, having a partnership, knowing, well, you know what? I know if I can't do X, Y, and Z, she got me. She got my back. I just feel like that's what family units should start becoming now. You can't get along, separate. But don't let it affect your relationship with your children.
Can we toast to that?
You can't, because a child needs both parents. There's a lot of children out here living in single family homes, be it with their mothers or their fathers. A part of human nature, I feel like a part of our creation, and that's the reason why we have man and woman, God created man and woman, is because you need that balance. Mm-hmm. And it's necessary for the both of them to physically create a child. So why do we think that it's okay for our children not to have their fathers as women? And I don't know a lot of men who feel like, honestly, oh, a child doesn't need their mother. I don't know many men who may say that. I do know a lot of great fathers. I do know a lot of great fathers who are raising their children on their own, and they've kind of been forced to, if you will, just because the mothers are not doing all of what they should be doing. But even still, the family unit can still work. It just takes being accountable. It takes wanting to help one another, and then that support to work out the differences. You know what I mean? And just do what's best for the child. That's...
Can we talk to that?
We can. Yeah,
so we talked about this. With what you just said, like, marriage for me, that shit really, as far as me the person.
Okay.
And this is what I try to tell any dude that's talking about getting blah 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 blah. Especially if you've been with your woman for like a long ass time, like you really know her. You know who the fuck you dealing with. You still dealing with her. You're not depending on her for your survival. You could be okay without her. You're still fucking with her because you want to.
Absolutely.
I just say, and no, nothing in life that's really worth having is just, nothing is just gonna be
easy.
A walk in the park. Absolutely. You know what I mean?
Absolutely.
So, absolutely. I can say, for me, I just tell my brothers that if you get married for the right reasons, the shit's gonna make you a better man. I feel like fatherhood does too. I experienced fatherhood before marriage. Real legal, like, and it took me as as a man, like just to another level.
I can agree with that. I've personally never been married. Not opposed to it. Would definitely do it, but I'm not rushing to do it. I could have been married. I chose not to because I just felt like that was a lifelong commitment that I did not want to make at that time with that individual. But you gotta, you have to have, you have to have communication. That's one of the main things. I think the love part kind of comes easier, if you will. Um,
Absolutely.
but you have to have communication. You have to have trust. If you don't have those two things, in my opinion, you're already kind of putting yourself in a position for possible failure. I say possible failure because people change their minds all the time. You know what I mean? And it's what you choose to do and how you choose to make your marriage work. I feel like people also get married for the wrong reasons.
Can we toast to that?
One just being for security, not knocking it, not knocking anyone's choice for marrying for security reasons. That's your choice. Not opposed to it. I just feel like if you don't have all the aspects, which makes it creates the whole puzzle and not just that one piece, you're going in putting yourself, in my opinion, at a disadvantage. Um, you got to be willing to compromise. You have to be willing to change some things that you were raised on or how you always thought it would be because now it's not just about you. You have to answer to your mate. Like y'all have to answer to one another, and that's deep. That's heavy. I have a lot of married friends, and they tell me all the time, like although they love being married, marriage is hard work. Especially when you're trying to honor your marriage and walk in your relationship the right way. Is a lot of distractions out here. Some easily more easily distracted than others, but if you want to make it work, that's exactly what you do. You make it work. you know you make it work. I'm now starting to change my perspective of just being married. I'm now feeling like you don't necessarily even have to be married. If you are committed to an individual and they are committed to you, then you have the commitment. Marriage, biblically, for whatever everyone's religious beliefs are, is what you should do. And for others, it's about commitment. You can share and have all those same things and it not be on paper, but that's an individual choice.
Yeah.
For me personally, I could see myself being married and unmarried. The bottom line for me is commitment. So that's where my heart would be with it, and how I saw my relationship. But I feel like commitment is critical in every relationship: friendships, family relationships, extended relationships, romantic relationships. Commitment is commitment. You have to honor your word, or do your best, if things change. But it goes back to just being accountable to what you vowed to do.
Indeed.
So,
I think if things change, you should have a discussion with that person. With what you
absolutely,
just said. You know what I mean?
absolutely, absolutely.
And then move forward, you know, according to whatever y'all decide is gonna happen. Um, I just feel like a lot of people. Well, I think a lot of people lack commitment. I think motherfuckers was a. I don't want to say people. I think people were a lot more loyal. Um, I know in my experience, um, in my generation, loyalty was a lot more important than what I see now. And I ain't gonna lie, like that really bothered me because And I'll use this show for an example. Like, so I've had conversations with people that like really wanted to be on some professional like business type, and that's cool. But it's like, yo, when you come on the show, we just going to spend some time together. Like, it's not that serious. We just gonna be on the camera, but we just gonna have a conversation. I'm not worried about like whatever a person status is, the other people and all of that. Like, to me, it's more important to be around people that I enjoy being around. Like, positive energy amongst people.
But is that loyalty though? So I don't think that that's necessarily loyalty. It could be, I want to be on Marcus's podcast. It could be, oh, this is something I might could do. Maybe I could become a part of a team. It could be, I just want to be on camera. You know, it could be a number of things. I can agree with the fact of loyalty based upon like when I'm a little older than you. I'm a little older than you.
I'm glad you said it and
Yeah.
not
Oh,
me.
guess what?
Yeah.
I'm not ashamed of my age at all. I'm not one of those women. You can ask me my age all day. It wouldn't matter to me. I don't care. I'm grateful to be able to see the age that I've made it to.
Could be those of that.
Yes, we can. But I think that the values and the morals that a lot of our parents were raised on and that have since raised us, it was different. Loyalty really meant the definition of it. I can't sit here and give you the dictionary definition of it, but my understanding of the meaning is basically just being dedicated and committed to something, someone, you know, and giving it your all, not easily quitting. I find today's loyalty, some of it, it has a different meaning. And a lot of times people are only loyal to you if you're beneficial to them. When you're no longer beneficial to them, then the disloyalty quickly comes into play. But we do, I feel like, have a lot of loyal people still in the world. But that's, once again, just knowing who you, like you say, who you're surrounded by, knowing the person. But we all learn new things about ourselves. So of course, other people are going to learn new things about us because we should always be evolving. We should never stop learning. That doesn't mean you have to go to school, but I personally try to learn something new every day. Indeed. Every day. No matter how big or how small. So if you are evolving, you are going to make some changes, and you should make some changes in your life, but they should be for the better. Once again, not just for yourself, for your families, and anyone else who's connected to you. Even strangers, because a lot of times I'm out in the store, I talk a lot. I'm a social butterfly, if you will, but I can also be shy when I want to be. But I talk to anybody and everybody because the thing is, you never know who someone is. You never know their values. You never know their qualities. You never know where they've been and how far they've come. You never know if they're in a rough patch right now, and the one or two or three words you say to them could change their life forever. Like, you just don't know. So for me, loyalty comes with kindness. It comes with love. It comes with care. It comes with concern. It comes with so many things like understanding, non-judgment, and we all have our opinions. And sometimes we can be more opinionated, than we should. But I'm still learning every day, like, you can't judge. You're not supposed to. You know what I'm saying? Because we don't like being judged. You know what I mean? But if you expect loyalty, you should be loyal. Let me say that. Because I feel like if I'm loyal to you and I feel like you're disloyal to me, I'm going to have to separate myself. Because we're not going to play and act like and pretend like this not happening. It's happening. It's real. And let's go ahead and talk about it and iron it out if we can. And if we can't, it's no love loss, it's no hatred, it's no malintent. Right. But we're going to go ahead and part.
Right.
And leave it at that. So.
And that's definitely how you carry.
Yeah. One thing.
For a long time.
I'm pretty consistent, and I say this to anyone and anyone who knows me. Good, bad, and different. I'm pretty much consistent. And I'm learning some things about myself now that my consistency may not be the best. So I'm having to work on that. You know what I mean? I'm having to work on that because if other people are telling you this is what it is, you can't keep standing there saying, "Oh, that's not me. I'm not doing that." Wrong answer. You doing it because they see it and they telling you. It becomes your responsibility to identify, correct it. You know what I mean? But it's like, yeah, like I'm consistent. I don't do well with inconsistencies because I am a genuine person. And if I rock with you, I'm rocking all the way with you. You know what I'm saying? I'm going to let you know if you're wrong. I'm going to let you know if you're right as I expect the same. You know what I mean? Yeah. But I got you. I got your back.
Right.
120% I got you. You know what I mean? But it's like, if we good today and we BFFs today and then tomorrow you act like you don't know me, I'm going to have to call you on it. I'm going to give you another chance. I might give you a couple chances. Maybe. Maybe not. But either way, I can't stay in that zone. You know what I'm saying? I don't do well with inconsistency. And I think that's a part of the problem too, like within the family unit. We have to be consistent. The moment one of the, the mates change or the partners change, it's noticeable. It's noticeable. Well, what's going on? Oh, nothing's wrong. It's all good. Oh, I'm good. I mean, same difference with our children when they done did something and we know they did, but we just don't know what they did. Yeah, it's like, oh, I know something has happened. So what's different? Why is it different? But, you got to keep an open mind, open eyes, open ears. I'm learning I've been a good listener for quite some time, but I'm learning to be a slower speaker. I'm learning to talk a lot less and listen a lot more. And that comes with age and wisdom.
Can we talk? We gonna talk in a second.
It comes with age and wisdom, but I feel like we can also teach our children those things now. You don't always have to be heard. Right. I know older people used to say, "Be seen and not heard." That's what I was raised up on. My mother didn't play that. Like, I could sit in the room with adults. And they could have a whole 5 conversations that most people are like, oh, a child shouldn't be in a room. I knew better than to repeat anything. I knew better. My mother just did not play it. You know what I'm saying? And that's how I raised my children. Be seen and not heard. Right. Of course, now you don't make children privy to everything. They shouldn't hear everything, whether or not you think they'll repeat it. Everything is not for children. But once again, that's a part of structure in the family unit. What are we doing? What are we teaching our children? What are we exhibiting to our mates? You know what I'm saying? What are we saying to them? If he say, "I'm leaving, babe, I'm going out." Okay. I'm not calling your phone. Where you at? What you doing? Who you with? Do you? Whatever you do, it will come back. But I'm not looking for it. You know what I'm saying? So that goes back to trust. You have to have trust. If you don't have trust, you're going to drive yourself crazy and give yourself a heart attack or stroke because you're worried about the unknown of which you have no control. Yeah. Even if you know some things you still can't control. So you have to make certain decisions depending upon what the situation is. Okay, we're going to do this, we're going to do that. Or I'm going to do this, you do that. I don't know, but the family unit is critical. I was an elementary education major in undergrad. And then, actually I started as a special education major and then went to elementary education. And a lot of the children that I worked with within the school, a lot of them were so lost. Like, one child, he couldn't read, but they labeled him as a behavior issue. And I knew it wasn't that. It was like, I have a heart pretty much for like children or just people that I feel like are just having challenges. Because you don't really know what people are going through until you actually sit down and talk to that person. You don't know what someone has been through. And I say all the time, that I feel is like critical in the family units now is so many broken adults because things have happened to them as children and trauma and things like that, and they were never able to get the adequate help that they need to grow beyond the trauma. So of course they bring that into their relationships. They bring that into their families. And I just want to say, for myself, for everyone in this room, for everyone who's listening, watching, if you are experiencing, or if you have experienced and or are experiencing any type of trauma, past or present, please go get the help that you need. It's out there. It's out there. Because the fact of the matter is, you can't grow as an individual, and you definitely can't give your all to your family if you're still broken, if you're still half. You need to be whole. And the one thing that we were talking about, I believe you and I talked about it, but maybe not. I know it's a conversation I frequently have. You know, people always say, oh, when I meet my better half, then I'm going to be whole. No, no. You're already supposed to be whole. So that the other half that you acquire should also be whole, because it gives you a healthy whole unit. If you come into a relationship or a family unit half, and they're coming half, yeah, well, you know, we learned in math, two halves make a whole, right? Right. But those halves are still lacking something. So they may be better together as a whole unit, but when you're not a whole individual, that means you're lacking something. You know? And just start with wanting better for yourself personally. I can't give someone else more than what I can give myself and I have to give. You know what I mean? So it's important. Get the help. You know, I do know as a culture, I feel, let me say I feel, not I know, I feel. As a culture, we've always labeled therapy, mental health therapy, and, you know, having mental illnesses and mental disorders as, you know, a hush situation. It's real. It's real out here in these streets today. And guess what? A lot of it, I feel, stems and surrounds those components. And until individuals get the help they need, they'll continuously be institutionalized, their lives may be taken, and they'll just run around doing the same things. Like, once again, that's family. Because if you're my neighbor, we neighbors. That's a family unit. We live side by side. So if your house catch on fire, it's likely my house gonna catch on fire, right? Right. So you are, or you should be, your brothers and sisters' keeper. You know what I mean? You may not be able to do everything. You may not be able to do anything, but like I said, a resource, a referral, a kind word, care, concern, a sandwich, you know, anything.
How we was raised.
Yeah, yeah. Because my children, you know, they tell me all the time, Ma, you give your last. You just give any and everybody your last. But that's how I was raised. That's the type of home environment I was raised in. You understand what I'm saying? And I feel like, but what's the harm? If I have a whole plate, why I can't give you a piece of something or half of my plate? You're hungry. Why let you be hungry? You know what I mean? Like, I don't understand that. You know, now if we don't get along, I don't necessarily want you to sit there with me and eat it. I'm gonna be honest. But you mind sitting right there? But if you don't have nowhere else to sit, then sit there. Just eat your food. We don't have to talk.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like, I don't feel like we humanistically have the compassion that we should. And I think that is really disrupting a lot of the family unit. I feel like a lot of people are for self.
Absolutely.
And none of us can get anywhere without the help of someone.
God doesn't work by himself. I ain't trying to cut you. I'm sorry.
Well, no, because he used his son, you know, based upon my biblical beliefs, you know what I mean, for us to have existence. So once again, it was a partnership. You know what I mean? So that's what we're going to have to restore and take back in our communities, in our family units. Understanding one another, understanding our differences. Because that's the thing. It's easy when our similarities are the same. You know, it's easy when everybody gets along, but it becomes challenging when the differences come to play or to the forefront. So how do you handle those? How do you handle those differences? You know what I mean? Do you just shun them? Do you, evade them? Like, and it's okay, because if we were all created to be the same, there wouldn't be all of us. It would have just been one or two of us. And that's that.
Right.
That was our design. And everybody brings something beneficial to a situation. Everybody. Everybody, I feel like everyone has a talent. You just have to know how to make it work for you and how to maximize, those things. Yeah, it's tough.
But we still here.
It's absolutely, and I plan on being here a lot longer. A lot longer.
Indeed.
Like I said, I don't give up easily at all, and especially if it's something that I want, I'm going to get it. Just because, why not? You can achieve it. You can achieve it.
And you preach that.
I believe that.
No, I know. That's what I'm saying.
I believe that.
Like, you really, like, it was never anything that I told you, like, I want to do this. I like this. I think you was always like, okay, well, yeah.
Go get it.
And then if it was anything that you knew about it, it was like, okay, well, all right, this, and this. And I'll take it even further. You actually did business with me. Like, you always supported whatever I was doing.
Absolutely.
That's real. That's friendship.
Absolutely.
And when as we talked about earlier, as far as like loyalty and how it's different now, it's like I feel like the word friendship is overrated now. Like, it's thrown around.
I can agree with that.
Love,
like the word love.
Right.
I agree. Exactly. Like the word love.
Exactly.
I agree with that. I think a part of it, when you're building friendships, is based upon how you were raised and what it should mean. I feel like as you grow and you get wiser, some of those definitions can change for you. But I feel like the core should still be, like I said, those characteristics. Loyalty, kindness, you know what I'm saying? Care, concern, you know what I mean? Genuine love. And it doesn't mean I feel that way about you because, once again, you're beneficial for me. Even as a friend, you should still feel that way about your friends, because that's why they are your friends, right? I mean, that's what I would think. You know what I mean? But I do feel like friendships have definitely changed today. But you had people back in the day that said they were friends, and then the whole time they were doing, things that weren't in their friends' best interests. But I still feel like they were more discreet with how they did things. Today, a lot of people are just like, what is whatever. They just out with everything, and for me, that doesn't spell or say any of the characteristics I just named, and I don't want part of it, personally. But yeah, you have to define who you want in your space. You have to know who you are as a person, because you can think you're one way and really you giving off something different too. Like I said, even with myself, I'm learning some things today about me. Like, no, that's not me. Oh no, and it was like, oh, this person said it, that person said it, and then I asked that person, because I'm like, all right, I want to get a couple different opinions, but everybody's saying the same thing, so it's like, oh, that's real, and that's an issue. You have to correct that. You have to change that, and it starts today, not tomorrow, not next week. You have to change that, because for me, that's not who I want to be. You know what I mean? And that's not who I ever thought I was. But since it's been brought to my attention, I have to correct that. I have to correct that. I think we should constantly self-evaluate. I personally do. I'm constantly self-evaluating. Um, Not because I want to be the best, but I just always want to be better. I want to always be greater. For me, being better and me being greater, and I tell everyone who knows me and who is connected to me, that means better and greater for all of us. It doesn't stop with me. I'm already willing and ready to share. I already share everything that I can. It doesn't mean just money, just knowledge, time. You know what I'm saying? Friendship, you know, therapeutic like sessions. You know what I mean? Whatever I can share and give, and I don't have to know you. I do a lot for strangers just because that's how I was raised. If you see someone in need and you're able to help, that's what you do. You help. You help. You know? And it doesn't matter if you gave once or if you gave 101 times. If they're in need, help them. Help teach them the lesson, though. You know what I mean? So that they are not so dependent or become dependent. But that's a part of what I would define as loyalty. Just not giving up on a person, not turning your back on a person. And a lot of times I feel like in relationships today, and I mean all kind of relationships, a lot of times when people are at their lowest or they're down, you know what I mean? Some people support them less, but it's like they're the ones that need the most support right now. You know what I mean? If I'm here, you should be here, or you should be here pulling me up to where you are, and then I'm gonna pull you up. You know what I mean? That's how it should be. That's loyalty to me.
I feel like that's definitely not popular culture today. I feel like it should be, but it's definitely not. But I feel like the population of the righteous is small anyway. And honestly and truthfully, I think I'm not saying that, and we talked about this. I feel like once you drop the jewel, you see what I'm saying? Like when you're righteous and you drop the jewel and you do the right thing, if it's not returned, you still did the right thing. You still dropped the jewel. And as far as you dropping the jewel and somebody not wanting to,
pick it up
exactly,
and follow.
In God's eyes, you did your job.
Right, you did what you could. You can't control and you can't make another adult anyway, do something that they don't want to do. But I will say that doesn't mean you stop encouraging them and trying to motivate them to pick up the jewel. I do feel like that's major in today's society as well, because we have an abundance of people who motivate, support, encourage. I personally have a great support system, and I can't thank all of you enough. Just like I said, just for a kind word one day, or just to say good morning, to say good night, hope you had a good day, because you never know what someone is going through and what those simple words could mean for them. But you can't make them do anything. But do you stop encouraging them? Do you stop motivating them? What you feel about that? Do you feel like because you can't make them, do you stop encouraging them? Do you stop motivating them? Like,
I honestly feel like you forgive them, and you just be the best you that you can be.
But you didn't answer my question.
I was trying to. I'm sorry.
I'm sorry. I'm listening. Go ahead. I'm listening.
I'm not saying you stop, because one thing I've learned about life is like energy is real.
It is. It is.
And we gonna take it back to Sequoia Ave real quick.
Okay.
And hopefully you come back and we have another interview where we can actually have a little segment where we talk about Sequoia Ave and the energy that was there, right?
Okay.
Like the energy around you is very important.
True. I agree.
So when it's negative, like I feel like you shouldn't be around it at all.
So I can agree with that. But that doesn't necessarily mean you have to be around it. You can still encourage, motivate someone in passing. They don't have to be in your personal space. They don't have to be in your immediate space. For example, if I see you walking down the street, I don't particularly care for your energy, so I've distanced myself or disassociated myself from you. But if I see you walking down the street and I know that you're still making music, what's wrong with me saying, "Hey, how you doing? Hope all is well. Hope you're doing well in your music career." And keep it moving. You know what I mean? I feel like that's a part of the disconnect within our society today, because there are a plethora of people who have the support and everything that they need. But I feel like there's still a great amount of people who don't. Who don't. And sometimes, a lot, not even sometimes, a lot of times, it just takes one kind word. Granted, we all have our days where we're not having the best day. We may not always say a kind word. That's all of us. You know what I'm saying? But once you know that about yourself, once again, you got to work harder to change that. One thing my mother used to always tell us is that if you don't have nothing nice to say, don't say anything at all. Period.
Can we toast to that?
Just be quiet.
I was raised on that too.
Just be quiet.
I was raised
Don't
on
say
that.
nothing. So, sometimes that's all that someone who you feel like may be exhibiting negative energy towards you needs. Needs. It's just that kind word or those kind words.
I've still been kind.
But being kind and being proactive in your actions are two different things.
What if but see, that's what I'm saying about, this is just me, right? I know that I'm not perfect, right?
None of us are. None of us are.
So when I say I forgive, especially if I really, and this is me talking, if I genuinely love that person, like my here's where I'm at in life. And I've been around like real people that I have genuine love for. You know what I mean? We go way back. And it's like they respect it, but at first when they heard what I was saying at first, they didn't understand it, because I'm like, it's certain shit that I'm really just not. I'm not worried about it. You see what I'm saying?
Worried about what?
Just anything that's not really like right here, right now. I gotta deal with this right now. Like who said what, but whatever. You see what I'm saying? But I don't want to be around it either. Like I'm not going to have a reaction to something that's not worth having a reaction for, because I'm blessed and busy.
I get that, but my question to you was, do you encourage and motivate that individual, or do you not?
You can encourage and motivate that individual. In my experience, though, sometimes energy can be so negative it don't even matter. Like a motherfucker be mad at you for trying to encourage and motivate them, even at the moment. That's all I'm saying. Evil energy like never stops. And since I've been basing life on placing myself around positive energy, and anything outside of that, I pray for. a lot of it I really love. I just know it don't love me. You see what I'm saying? So I don't worry about being bothered with that shit. I make it a point not to be bothered with it. You see what I'm saying? This,
So yeah, that was good. I mean, because sometimes you can't always motivate and support individuals who don't want to be. But for me, you said something, pivotal, and you said you pray for them, and to me, that's better than anything else that you can do for a person or say to a person.
can we talk about that?
Yeah, definitely, definitely, because if anyone can change anything, it's the Heavenly Father, higher power, supreme being, whomever everyone identifies with. But definitely, definitely. Um, and a lot of times I feel like that's all people want. I encountered a homeless man, nice guy, and just we were going to get something to eat, and I was like, here go a couple dollars for whatever, because he wanted to work. So he was like, no, I don't want you to just give me no money. He was like, I want to wash your windows, I want to do it. And I'm like, it's unnecessary. You don't have to. Like, because truth be told, everything that I've been given and granted in life, I haven't had to work for or even work hard for. You know what I mean? So it's like, no, you don't have to do that. You know what I mean? You fighting a struggle already just being homeless. I can't imagine. But he said, I don't want money. I said, well, let me buy you some food. He was like, you know what I want you to do for me? And I said, well, what? He said, pray for me. Like, it brought me to tears. I didn't like drop any and I didn't cry, but my eyes welled up because I was just like, wow. You know what I mean? And I still do pray for him. I still do pray for him. Because the fact of the matter is, I feel like he has comfort in knowing that someone he's connected with in that day is genuinely praying for him and his circumstance. And it will get better. And it will. Right now, Baltimore City has a new program, and I do want to share this. I don't know if you all have heard about it. I just heard about it today. But for people who are trying to move, or who have lost their homes because of the pandemic and losing income and all that stuff, they are offering a program, I believe, up to $2,000. Don't quote me on it, research it yourself, but from my recollection, up to $2,000 towards a security deposit on a new home. So, once again, we got to share what we have, you know what I mean? And still just trying to help each other.
And that's really you, the person. I appreciate that.
I try to do my best. I'm far from perfect as well. By no means am perfect, but I try to do my best. I don't try to do my best. I do my best. And I give all I can. And when I fall short, I am accountable to myself. I know. And honestly, it doesn't mean even once you are self accountable that you might not fall short again. Because guess what? You're going to have to work to get that right. You've been doing this way all this time. It's not going to happen. Change is not going to happen overnight. But once you become conscious of it, then I feel like you should do better. Indeed. With it.
Indeed.
But I mean, I love people. I've always been a people person. I love people. And I love helping people. And like I said, I'm grateful for everybody who've helped me, including you. Just like, and sometimes people pray for you and stuff like, and you don't even know until you run into somebody. They be like, I heard that, or I saw, and I prayed for you. You be like, wow, like thank you. Like I didn't even realize that you were connected to me enough. You know what I'm saying? To just try to ask for some help, on my behalf. But that's real. That's real. But I feel like the woman and the man in the family unit, you have to understand one another. You have to understand your rules, within the family unit. And I did not mention respect. Respect is crucial.
So that means you gotta come back for another episode.
Why? No,
no.
It doesn't mean I disrespect you.
No, I'm just on my bullshit. I'm on my
you.
bullshit. I'm sorry.
I hear you. I definitely.
I'm sorry.
Yeah, because I know for me personally, if I disrespect something, I'm just not going to really give it much attention. You know what I mean? I'm not going to view it as something credible. You know what I mean? That's big in the family units and that trickles down. If the adults don't respect each other, then the children a lot of times will disrespect the adults, or at least one of the adults, because that's what they see. You know what I mean? That's what they hear. And even with strangers on the street, you have to show respect. You have to. Well, at least we should. Let me put it that way. We should show one another respect, whether you know someone or not. You should always be respectful.
And we'll talk about that the next time Yanni come back on this motherfucker. That's just how I move. Like,
I'm big on respect. I am big on respect and customer service.
See, we got to talk about that the next time you come through.
Definitely. I'll come back.
Always a pleasure. Thank you for being here.
Thank you for having me.
Salute to the fans. Salute to E-Man.
Yes, thank you, E.
We wrapping it up. Holla at you.